Today's lesson is going to continue on with the preliminary things. Don't worry, we will get into Dr. Graves' framework on howtowinnincourt.com, prerequisite material. Today we're going to talk about affidavits and what are rules of criminal and civil procedure in your neck of the woods. So, my name's Andrew. If you haven't heard of me, I'm an amateur pro se litigant who knows enough by first-hand knowledge in order to teach you about an in propria persona style court case. I was going to tell you the truth today, but we're having some issues with our internet. So our response will be to pivot, and I'll just tell you more of the truth. We'll come back to this particular lesson. Decide to do this on our own, we will be met with a lot of resistance. You can see my Wi-Fi router is not behaving properly. It has been my experience that if we decide to go pro se, in propria persona, to represent ourselves, that we are actually more capable of defending ourselves than an attorney is, because we are able to go in certain areas and mention certain things that attorneys will not do, because they do have their first allegiance to the court and their second is to the public, and only after those two are met can they actually have an allegiance to their client. And a lot of the time, and as you can see, that will be a conflict of interest, and so they're actually serving the courts before they serve the client, and so they can't help you the way that you can help you, and which is why we want to do this. However, if we sign up to do this by ourselves, we're going to be met with a bunch of resistance, and the reason is because their weapon is violence, and our weapon is the truth. And they cannot use the truth, the whole truth that is, because if they did, they would admit that their quasi-criminal jurisdiction is a fiction, and they are performing legal simulations on people and breaking the law of the supreme law of the land. Okay, but these traffic courts, as fraudulent or whatever you want to say, as fictional as they may be, do fund many of our, functions of government. And so that's, you can see where they would want to protect it tooth and nail. And I can't blame them. If I built my entire life on a house of cards of lies, I would protect it from anybody wanting to come and blow it down with the truth. Okay? So, and I was going to show how, and we'll do this again later, but there's people out here making the claim that all crimes are commercial, and they're using a federal statute to show this. We'll get into that again and why I don't subscribe to that, and that is just fine. I want to talk now today about how there may be a conspiracy forming around you that is used to get you to submit. And there is a level of adversarial, resistance that you may not be prepared for. And if you don't have friends or connections in this space, which I'll help you get if you want to join in, if you do want to do this, I'll give you everything that I got for free, okay? And I'll do everything I can to make sure that you are better and well equipped to go against this group of people who have been perpetuating an ongoing criminal enterprise at our expense for decades. And so yes, they're going to protect that criminal enterprise, and they're going to do it in ways of, like, knocking out your Wi-Fi, making sure you can't do any research, right? And so there's many different things. My point here is, and though sometimes all of a sudden your own family members will begin acting strange just because they have been briefed, right? And they have been told, hey, make sure this, and this happened for this guy or this gal. They're helping, unfortunately. So if you're not prepared to go against the world, because that's how it seems sometimes, there will be some people that want to help you, but a lot of people are just trying to distract you or take you off the track. And if you're not prepared and you're not one with yourself, in tune with the higher power that you serve, because that is where the laws all come from. If you are not in tune with that, if you're not prepared for, you're going to meet the worst of what mankind has to offer in this process. And if you're not prepared for that, then I do encourage you to just pay the ticket and move on with your life, because this is a big deal. They're trying to pretend like it's not a big deal, but what you're doing is fundamentally changing the course of how our government is to run, and we would like it to be pursuant to the supreme law of the land. And so ultimately where this is headed is Rule 5.1 of the Federal Rules of Criminal Procedure, which would be a constitutional challenge to statutes. Anyway, we will get into that. Just know that you're going to be tested, and it's beyond tested, because they don't actually want you to get stronger. In my opinion, they're not trying to better you. They're trying to destroy you. And it's because they don't respect what you're doing, and they want you to bend the knee so that they can get another win and end up with this. Okay, we're not going to talk about generating securities in your name. We're not going to do all these different, you know what I mean? All I'm saying is, and there are things that I align with what other people are teaching. I'm just going to show you rules of criminal procedure. What I can tell you right now is that a prosecutor or an attorney is either witness or counsel, and they cannot be both. So that means if they're going to go into court and give a testimony, you had better say, I object, I need this person to be sworn in such that I can cross-examine that testimony. Because they have no first-hand knowledge, the prosecuting attorney. They weren't there. Were they? Were they there at the traffic stop? Then what are they talking about? Everything that they could possibly say would be hearsay then. So you need them to be sworn in so that you can cross-examine them and prove that it is all hearsay. Now, the officer might come in and give their testimony, which is why we're going to do affidavits, because that officer did not create an affidavit of probable cause, which was in support of a warrant, which is also known as a citation. So no citation shall be issued without first probable cause, which would be on an affidavit, ascribed by that officer and the magistrate. And just having the word on-duty judge on there does not seem to satisfy the requirements of what a citation or what a warrant is, or what is needed to get either of those things, which is a affidavit of probable cause. And now they're going to try to use certain things like a police report or what have you, or as an affidavit, and that's not what an affidavit is. And we'll get into what an affidavit is. Okay? And so we are going to be met with a lot of resistance. The prosecuting attorney is either witness or counsel, cannot be both, needs to be sworn in. You can cross-examine them and ask them questions to poke holes in whatever they're trying to say. The officer did not issue a probable cause affidavit, which is needed to have a citation or a warrant for your arrest, right? And this is the real truth, okay? So I hope that this is helpful. Unfortunately, I'm not able to get into anything with you today because, as you can see, things aren't working out with my technology. Now, it could be coincidence. Take care, and we will be back probably this evening to show the format of, we'll talk about the header of what all of our court documents are going to look like. We'll talk about what an affidavit is and what we can do with them, and how to submit them into our case, and how to leverage them, and how to get them put into evidence, which is as simple as saying, it, Judge, I need this to be put into evidence, so that it's evident to the judge, so that he can see it, okay? And we can enter in an affidavit through the clerk, or we can enter it in open court. So they might say, okay, this is the deadline for everything that you can possibly need. We need this in at this date. Right? We need all of your filings by this date. Well, the real due process of law is you're able to enter in an affidavit in open court into evidence. So, yes, be respectful of deadlines, but also don't be fooled and have your rights to due process be infringed. That's what I have for us today, and I know that it was really wordy, and I hope that this was helpful for you. If you have questions, ask in the comments or join at sproutedgrace.com where we can have the discussion. Thank you so much. God bless you, and take care.